Alright, Pox community, what's up? We're sitting here, another Pox Nora match, production of TCGBay.com. Please visit there for all your trading card game needs. And today we have got a very cool match between RainElf and RasielCZ. But I've also got two guys in the house that's been with the game a long time, Mr. BurnPyro. What's up, Burn?
Not much, not much.
And the man himself, Lord Markoth, King of IS. What's up, Mark?
Doing well.
So, here we go, guys. We got a mirror match, full faction UD. Well, we got a phase spider in play. Now, most of the time, you only see those things in, spider decks, guys. So, is Rasiel running a spider deck here, or just throws in the Harvey because he has it, or what?
They're actually very good runes. They're efficient with teleport. They can harass decks, fonts fairly well, and they can just hop into like a center font or something like that and cocoon, and they're going to be immune to any response for a full turn.
The cocoon is gravely hard to deal with at times. I mean, it wraps itself up, and it can do that with pretty, let's see how often. Just a cooldown of 2, guys. That makes that thing just a monster inside font zone. So maybe that's what we're seeing Rasiel do here, is using that as a font contester. On the other end, it looks like that RainElf has gone with a Deep Elf Priestess and a Grief Bearer. The Priestess is pretty much a staple in the UD department, but let's see here. Okay, so he's going to pull the messenger up, and that's going to help contest that font. I was wondering what he was going to do there, because he was coming up a few spaces short. So, pretty cool move from RainElf.
Yeah, RainElf is a rare league now, but it's only because he mainly played team battles, so he doesn't play 1v1 much.
RainElf currently ranked 3 rare league, but like you said, Burn, 24 limited league in the team play, and Rasiel is 79 in the limited on solo play. Guys, it's a different atmosphere in 2 versus 2 than it is 1-on-1. You don't really have a partner to bail you out, or to me, 2 versus 2 at times seems like you can make maybe a mistake or 2 and kind of get bailed out. 1 versus 1, not really the case, right? I mean, if you make a mistake, you don't really have a way of bailing yourself out. What's your guys' take on that? Is a 2 versus 2 player let's take this example, for instance. We got RainElf is 3 rare league solo, 24 limited team. Does that really tell you how good of a player RainElf is in a solo game?
2v2 is an entirely different atmosphere. You're going to have a lot of globals and area of effect moves, which makes some champions that would be good in 1v1 not as good in 2v2. Like we were talking in a different recording about Vex. Vex in a 1v1 isn't that great, but in a 2v2 where there's a lot of deploys, he all of a sudden becomes a very good champion. So it's a whole different atmosphere. I think if someone is good in 2v2, they obviously know how to play the game, but they may not necessarily be the best 1v1 player.
So 2 versus 2 has been out for how long now, guys? How long have they had that in
almost a year.
Almost
I think they released it in September last year. So it's about a year now.
All right, so we're looking at Pox. It's been 2 versus 2 for a year. It was screamed for by the community, and the devs did deliver on that promise. They worked it in. They've got the functionality, and I mean, guys have complained about, well, this is broken or that's broken, and yes, things do work a lot differently in 2 versus 2 at times than they do in 1 versus 1. And using the example that Markoth just gave, he's exactly right. I mean, priceless runes in 1 versus 1 are not necessarily as valued in 2 versus 2. And I think one of the biggest runes that sticks out in my mind as of right now is the Elven Ancestor, in Savage Tundra. She is an absolute monster in 2 versus 2. But what, guys, honestly, Burn, you're a very strong solo player. Mark, you've always been a really strong solo player. Is that where the true test of wits is? You take Rivirath, he's #1 Pox Battlemaster in solo play. Is that where the true test of wits is in 1 versus 1, or can you guys seriously take 2 versus 2 seriously, with their rankings?
Well, 2 versus 2 is it says something. A few weeks ago, I was mainly playing 2 versus 2 always. But in the end, there's just a lot of things in 2 versus 2 that are important, that are not important in 1 versus 1. Like in 1 versus 1, you have a lot of bags that are and battle groups that are really strong and that can win you games, and not necessarily if the opponent's battle group is better than you, have still a good chance to win. But in 2 versus 2, that's entirely different. In 2 versus 2, there's I'd say 4 or 5 bags that are really, really strong, and which can just not necessarily give easy wins, but give a lot of strong. Yeah.
Burn's been having a little bit of technical issues there. A pretty quick kill for Rasiel, using Harvey, Face Spider, and then following it up with a Maddening Echoes. Lord Markoth, you talked about, I think a while back, about the Angels. These guys really caught a big buff from Corpse, and was put in a gold store, and boy, that really created a mixed bag of emotions from the community itself. How good is the UD Angel now? It was always one of the more higher priced ones. They come back, they make it a melee piece, really, even after intensifying. It's got a 1 to 3 range, but more or less designed now to be a melee piece. How good is the UD Angel now?
She's good, but I would definitely say that she is a very viable choice if you have her. But in the melee department, I mean, it's under depth. It's where they specialize in. There is going to be a lot of competition for that role. Angel of Pain has some great upgrade choices. I mean, you can go with Blood Tracker, which can be used for stealth detection or a perseverance counter. You have Bleed, which actually gives her some staying power because she is a demon. She's not just a full angel. So she's able to heal off of the blood balls. Then Escalation, the longer the game goes on, she's pretty much going to turn into a monster if she's not dealt with. And after she intensifies, she's not necessarily just a full melee champion. She's going to have range 1 to 3.
So it appears that she's more of a, what would you say, a mid-game kind of rune then? Yeah,
I'd say mid. If the earlier you can get her out, the better due to intensify or escalation. But she is going to be at her best after she intensifies and able to actually attack a little bit from range.
So right now we've got everything kind of locked up in the middle. RainElf takes the messenger up to the Harbinger and kind of locks it down. The Angel of Pain is kind of running around here. You got Grimlock on the loose, but it does have a sword, so I guess what they're counting on is it not taking 2 hits. But Grimlock does have the firebomb, so there are, it can be hit twice fairly easily here. But again, with the problem of it being a melee piece, they've got to kind of have it up in the front. So, I guess we'll see what happens here, but Grimlock could really lay down some love on this Angel. So there's the font contestant from the messenger. So RainElf going to go to work on the Harbinger. 11 damage real fast. Burn, you still with us, brother?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right, man. Burn's mic's been kind of going in and out or lagging on us a little bit. So glad you're still with
Internet
us.
connection being weird. I don't know why.
Okay. Guys, do you like the change with illusions? Oh, rain.
There we go.
Rain. Rain. You had 2 hits, brother, with the firebomb. Wow. Well, or at least I think so. I don't know if he had 10 AP or not. Let's see. He
Yeah, he had
Yeah,
9.
he had enough for it.
Wow. Okay. See, and that's, you know, I don't know if the conversation's really come up any, but you know, if you're a full-time, you know, solo player, you know, mistakes like that, I mean, they still happen. You do forget. You tend to forget stuff on pieces, but you know. But anyway, back to my question, guys. What I was going to ask: do you guys like the fact now that illusions and summons cannot summon fonts anymore?
I like it a lot.
Yeah, I actually like the change as well.
Yeah, it was pretty silly because a lot of bags like Tier Forest with Cthulhu and the Slags were just all over your fonts all game long, which was annoying because they had endless heaps of meat, and then there was several other bags too who just summoned champs all the time and just put the summons in your font, wait a bit till you're down some more, and just, well, you know, use their actual champs to finish you off, which was incredibly boring to face.
It was certainly a big problem, and they tried to address it with individual rune nerfs. I remember one fix that they attempted was they took the one in Foglar Swamp, the Mineweaver, and they put volatile on it because the illusions that it generated were such a problem, you know, that they tried to fix it with volatile. And then they got to where they were sticking volatile on pretty much everything, Queen Anaru and, you know, some other runes out there that it was to me really kind of silly for putting, you know, such a strong restriction on some of those runes that, especially power-wise, they weren't really, you know what I mean? I mean, they wasn't really above the power curve at all, in my opinion. And they tried to fix it with that, but now they're just outright fixed it with that summons and illusions can no longer contest. So I guess I can see your point on that.
Yeah, it's oh yeah, it's just nice overall.
You want to go for the angel here?
I don't know.
I don't.
I think if he doesn't kill it, it's going to intensify. I could be wrong on the timing.
That's what I'm wondering.
But he has 2 Nora globes, so he must have, you know, like some other spell to finish it off, like Maddening Echoes or so. It's like, what, 35 Nora?
We'll see. If he can get that thing off the board, that's going to be a huge advantage for him. But if he can't, that might cost him right there.
Yeah, if he doesn't kill it, he lost, I think. Then, if that angel intensifies, then he's in trouble.
There it is. Wow, Markoth with the call. Good stuff, man. Maddening Echoes. And cleans up on the Nora Globe. So an all-round win situation there for RainElf. And then follows up with a Cave Runner, but doesn't decide to use the Tunnel Earth.
Yeah, he was out of time, probably.
So we know where the true Gremlin is. It's sitting right here in the font zone with the Arachnoblade on it. To me, kind of an odd choice to go with an Arachnoblade.
Was he the one that equipped it, or was it Rasiel that did?
Rasiel did.
Okay.
Owner Rasiel. Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that. All right.
Yeah, you can see if you check the equip.
Yeah,
See that
you're exactly right. So that's Rasiel's Arachnoblade on him. Okay. Demonologist. Guys, you know those runes, the Demonologist has a lot of trade value. They seem to be worth a lot, and in fairly high demand. But guys, we don't see them in play a whole lot. What's up with that? What's the reasoning that we don't see a lot of Demonologist in play, really.
I just haven't seen UD very often, actually, recently, but I actually can't remember the last time I faced UD. And they seem to be in a fairly good position at the moment, but they're just very expensive to play. They're kind of like what Forsaken Wastes and Iron Fist was.
But it's more or less something that UD is not very strong in. Range 3 to 5, 17 damage with the loyalty upgrade. And of course, you know, Blood for Nora is an amazing ability that can really shift a lot of games. But you know, let's see, what upgrades did he go with? Did he get the Swarm? So he's going with the Swarm Deep Elf Skeleton upgrade on it. Rasiel throws out the Nefari Grief Bearer in the upper font there. So guys, we've got Grimlicks on each side, Deep Elf Priestess, Cave Runner coming in for RainElf, and then we've got Demonologist and Grief Bearer for Rasiel, but holding the middle font right now is RainElf. Now guys, I have seen top tier players intentionally pull out of a font zone. Maybe they had control over it and stuff, and you know, one of the biggest things that I was always told coming in as a new player is always try to contest the fonts, always hold the fonts, always do this, always do that with those middle fonts. But you know, I have watched some really top tier players play, and there are times where they just kind of retreat out of the font zone. So is there times where maybe giving up the 12 Nora or giving up the field position is not necessarily a bad idea?
Well, if contesting would cause you to lose a unit, a champion is obviously going to cost more than the amount you're going to generate from the font. So sometimes it's, from a Nora cost perspective, it's actually better to pull back if it's going to cost you more than you're going to gain.
Yeah.
Deep Elf Summoner on the board for Rasiel now. A lot of support champs, the Grief Bearer and the Summoner.
Yeah, I think he's going with the Summoner to use Invigorate for some hit and run tactics, trying to snipe things off.
Okay, Cave Runner gets rid of 2 of the illusions there. Not quite sure. Well, so in comes Grimlock. We're going to see. This is a really aggressive move here from RainElf. I'm a little surprised, to be honest with you, especially with the setup that that Rasiel has.
Yeah, those are some good spider deploys right there.
Yeah, and he can't really kill that Demonologist, so that Demonologist would just kill something and heal up, which is...
I think he's just lost his Grimlock, to be honest with you. I don't see... I mean,
yeah,
it looks to me like he's... Okay. Really?
Oh, there we go. It's a little better.
Wow. Okay, that was a... Now, to me, that was an interesting move. I would have never in 100 years done that as the player that I am. But, wow. I mean, instantly we've got a Vossar Reaver now on the board, a Demonologist on the board, and so we go from 1 Grimlock to 2, you know, fairly meaty champs here, guys. Wow. And he does have the Font Defender upgrade, so RainElf's font is not going anywhere, guys.
Also, Molten Cloak was a very good equip for that due to the immunity fire, which will give him immunity from Grimlock's Fire Bombs and Flame Nova.
Yeah, and just +2 defense also real nice. Well, a lot of the time.
I'm actually surprised. Well, I guess it's starting to catch on. I know the Vultures as well as a lot of other players. It only costs 25 Nora. Brings
and
a
it
lot
has
of
two major resistant immunities even, so it's pretty neat.
Trail Lava, Immunity Fire, Immunity Frost, plus +2 defense.
And the damage shield.
And, of course, the damage shield. So,
Yeah, and that one is getting swarmed.
So, bye-bye Deep Elf Priestess, hello Deep Elf Skeleton, and
healing for the Demonologist.
Exactly. So, Demonologist back near full life now after the life siphon, or I mean after the life drinker.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Rasiel got this. I gotta go now, but...
Okay,
yeah,
buddy.
Rasiel just got enough pressure to just wipe that out.
Burn, thanks for sitting in with us, man. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. See you later, guys.
See you, man.
Yes, sir. So Burn's going to have to check out, but we've still got Markoth here. So, Mark, what makes this game so hard at times? I mean, you know, it's like, wow, man, you know, I've got all these great runes and these players are so good. You know, there's a lot of talk about maps going on in the forums right now that there's just so many auto-win maps, and, you know, Kathir Hill is one of the worst, and, you know, I mean, everybody's got kind of their opinion on what's the worst maps, but you know, the ones that we never hear any complaints about, Mark, are like this map, the UD map with the third font in the middle. We don't really hear any complaints about the IS map with the font in the middle. They're all odd number font maps. Why don't we have more odd number font maps out there, Mark? You know, I mean, to me they seem to be the most balanced because they prevent turtling. And they seem to be aggressive and a reason to be, you know, fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you also usually you'll notice a lot of the odd number maps are the simplest ones. They're just like this one here is just pretty much an open area if you exclude the lava on either side of the map. But sometimes simplicity is the best. The main problem with some of the even number maps is that it gives the first player the benefit of if they get to their font, they can use their second deploy to start contesting an opponent's.
Right, exactly. And so, you know, there's a large outcry from the community going on right now that they really ought to you know, kind of change up the maps and you know, give them something else a little bit to work with. What's your take on all that? What do you think is the worst map in the game right now?
My least favorite would either be probably Cathur Hill or, depending on my deploys, Sunderlands. But Sunderlands is a fairly okay map.
Well, right now, it looks like Rasiel is really starting to ramp up on RainElf here. He's still got the Demonologist and the Cave Runner in play, and the Reaver's actually faring fairly well considering everything that that Rasiel has out in play. And here comes a swarm for RainElf now. So RainElf picks up a Deep Elf Skeleton off of the swarm. The font defender is really a major problem for Rasiel right now, but and
There's
Angel
an
of
Angel.
Pain. Wow.
Looks like they're pretty much playing each other's deck.
I'm going to have to agree with you on this, man. I mean, this one may not be going anywhere for a while. We've got Grimlock, who's kind of, you know, useless at the moment against that Reaver, especially with the upgrade. Now, if we get a
Actually, it looks like there's a slight build difference on their Angels. I know Rasiel was using Bleed so he could heal up his Angel a little bit, and RainElf is going with Rend. So he's going a little more of a straight damage build.
So he goes with the Nightblade. Wow. I mean, that's just an equip we don't see a lot these days. Mark has Evil Aura and then ignores defense. It's a rune, I think, that's been around for a long time, but a lot of players just don't run that anymore. Are you surprised to see Rasiel pull it out here?
A little bit. It's one of my favorite equips from Underdepths. I know from talking to Sepulcher a little bit. He doesn't actually like it that much, just due to it's Iron Fist Stronghold. We have Train Strike from the Sergeant, and it costs 6 Nora, but I have to pay 25 for the same thing essentially. And with the large amount of high defense champions at the moment, I see it as actually being a viable equipment.
Right.
It also has the benefit of a perseverance counter because of the it's called Evil Aura should actually kill Orso Reaver there.
And there we go. The Life Drain Aura sucks out a couple more hit points, and that sends him to his grave. And all of a sudden, Rasiel is like, to me, he's pretty much in command of this match now. He comes racing back with the Shoal Demon. And, you know, the Demonologist himself, so I don't know. I mean, these matches, you know, you can't ever count anybody out at any given time because, you know, man, I've seen matches just go back and forth. When you thought it was over, they pull out a move and it takes out a couple players, champions and stuff. But what kind of spot do you think RainElf is in right now? Are they still in pretty good shape, or is his clock starting?
I think that Rasiel is slightly in the lead, unless no, actually, there's another Orso Reaver, which will give him a little more time. But unless you can get that Nefari Cave Runner out of the way, that's going to get swarmed as well, and I think Rasiel will just slowly start to gain an aura advantage, despite being a fawn down.
So see, that's, I guess that's another thing that we were talking about there. You don't necessarily have to be in control of the fonts to pull off the game. I mean, obviously they help you, especially with positioning and the extra Nora gen, but they don't necessarily spell auto win or anything of that nature. So Grief Bearer lays down some love on the Cave Runner, and I don't think the Demonologist is going to have enough juice to get the swarm, so he doesn't. He just goes ahead and goes for the kill. Gremlin finishes it off instead of the Demonologist, but that puts RainElf another piece down, and very interesting.
Actually, he didn't have enough AP. If he had one more AP, he would have been able to actually kill the Reaver by attacking with Shoal Demon and following up with a Blood Rage. But it'll be interesting to see if he uses Pawn on RainElf's Demonologist to direct damage to the Orso Reaver through Arrow Eater.
Wow, very nice. So much to keep up with. I mean, it's almost ridiculous what you have to remember and some combos and stuff that you can use. There's a big hit. Now, why didn't that pawn off?
He had a pawn already triggered from when he used Firebomb over there.
Okay.
No, which is actually fairly interesting because Firebomb isn't an attack, so pawn shouldn't have triggered.
I mean, that's kind of what I was wondering. I didn't necessarily think that it was set off by, you know, non-basic attack, so I was kind of curious about that.
I think RainElf's a little confused here as well. He seems to be alternating between champions, trying to find an attack to pawn over, but I don't think he's realized it's already triggered.
Demonologist down to just 16 life, but it looks like he's just about... what was that? Mindstorm.
Oh, Dark Pact.
It says RainElf cast Mindstorm. So,
there's a Dark Pact on whatever champion they tried to cast it on, which will redirect it to the nearest opponent.
That is painful.
That is one of the small benefits from Demonologist, is he's able to give spell protection to some of their stronger units.
And that's not even on a turn count either. So if you can apply Dark Pact through the Demonologist to a piece, then you know, they can basically use that any time. So you know, it's not like it has to be within a few turns. As soon as Demonologist comes into play, if they've got a champion nearby, just throw Dark Pact on them, including itself, to prevent the next spell, just like he done there. And now this match is steadily starting to get out of control for RainElf now.
I think we may see a surrender after this turn.
A big power turn here from Rasiel. That puts the Demonologist back to full life, and yeah, I think this one just about might be done. Rasiel with a nice, very aggressive turn there, and that's probably going to spell the end for RainElf here. And a max on the board. Man, you know, wow, there's a champion that if you look at it, you go, man, that is an amazing room. I mean, just a ton of damage, a ton of hit points, really cool abilities and stuff. But being stationary almost, you know, cripples it. So, you know, is max worth 100 Nora, really?
If you're able to get a Dark Summons off, which is, you know, obviously able to deploy a champion for free, then yeah, he essentially becomes a 35 Nora champion, which is worth it even as a mobile. And they have the ability to run one around with a Deep Elf Priestess. You can just keep summoning it to you. I'm surprised he actually deployed it, considering he doesn't have a Priestess on the board and he's just going to sit back there.
That's kind of what I was wondering. Let's see. RainElf still has control of the middle font, which was in part due to the Vossar Reaver's Font Defender. But Mark, we may hear the trumpets play here before long, brother. RainElf is just about out of time, champs, and spacing and everything, brother. It looks like he's just about done.
That was actually a pretty smart deploy, but I think it's a little late for it to matter.
Which one's this?
Well, he deployed the Bach Enforcer to get an extra 2 damage from Punishing Aura, because Ren from Angel of Pain was 5, and would have left the Sheol Demon at 2 HP.
Hatred. Animosity spell. Wow. Okay, now that to me is an honest first. I have never seen that spell cast in a game ever, Mark.
I can say that I have, but only when I was actually fooling around with it. It's probably my favorite spell in Underdeath, but it's fairly underrated and not always going to be that efficient. Its only benefit is it's actually the only loss of life spell in the game, which means that, oh, look at that, he actually summoned his own Priestess.
Very nice.
It's able to kill things through Impervious and other such things. It actually cannot counter Perseverance, surprisingly, but that's only because you can't cast spell on a champion.
Is that because it's shielded?
What was that?
Is that because it's shielded, or what? What's the problem?
When a champion has Perseverance proc, it actually becomes shielded, impenetrable, and impervious. So you can't use abilities or anything like that on them, as well as spells.
But typically, loss of life. So how does the targeting for animosity work? Does it target an enemy champion?
You can target a champion with it, and it's just like any single target spell.
Well, RainElf calls it a day. Rasiel kind of comes back even a font down for most of the game. RainElf had the middle font for nearly the whole game. So guys, if you're out there watching this one especially, having all the fonts is not always a guaranteed win. So Rasiel proves that in this match with RainElf. Well, Mark, I appreciate you joining us, brother. It was fun.
Good to be here.
All right, guys, we'll catch you next video.
And it's sweet, sweet, sweet.